We are now on air. Time for a total takeover.
It's finally here. Welcome to a new episode.
It's about to go down.
Good morning once again. It's yours truly, Dan Adams, and this is the Dan Adams Show. Greetings and salutations. Hope that your morning is going well without too much hassle or any type of upcomings. Comeuppance, excuse me. Haven't had my coffee yet. But let's go ahead and get right into it. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about a really this insane story out of Utah. You probably heard about it. 27-year-old father had his 4-year-old in the car, went through a McDonald's drive-thru. I guess his order was incorrect. So this emotionally inept individual decides to pull a gun because his order was incorrect. So police were called, 911 and all that good stuff. And when they arrived, supposedly, allegedly, and this is what the police are inferring or what they witnessed, that the father told the 4-year-old to shoot at the police. And from what I'm hearing in regards to the police account, that the 4-year-old knew how to handle a firearm. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, a 4-year-old. Now, for all my pro-gun people out there, I don't know where you stand on that, about a 4-year-old handling a firearm, or a father of a 4-year-old giving a 4-year-old the ins and outs of a firearm, showing them the ins and outs of a firearm, showing them how to handle a firearm, a 4-year-old. So if you're a pro-gun person and enthusiast and all that good stuff, put something in the comments and let me know where you stand on an adult, if you want to call it, just by age only, allowing a 4-year-old, instructing a 4-year-old, giving a 4-year-old the education needed to handle a firearm. Hit me up in the comment section, please. Don't know the full story, but I saw it run across my headlines this morning. This horrible, horrific story about the 23-year-old, I believe, student from SUNY Potsdam in New York, who was killed. Now we know she was shot 3 times in a drive-by shooting. Don't know if she was the target, which I don't believe she was. I haven't read the whole article, but good Lord have mercy. How far society has fallen. Just unbelievable. And the story here, if you haven't heard, a mother of 4 trying to make ends meet. She's an Uber driver, shot in the head and killed by an Uber passenger. Well, this murderer wasn't even the person that woo, had to hit a bump. Sorry about that. Wasn't even the individual who ordered the Uber. It was the girlfriend that ordered this person, this 22-year-old disgusting, evil human being. And no one even knows the motive, because there's dash cam footage of everything leading up until this poor young woman, mother of 4, shot in the head. There is no motive for this right now. No one right now has a motive. Someone seems to say and think that this individual had mental problems. No shit. And I'm thinking to myself, even with mental problems, okay, you don't even know this lady. She's taking you to where you need to go. Unless she pulled out a gun on you or somehow endangered your life, mental health or not, why in the world would you take this woman's life? Mother of 4 trying to make ends meet, doing what she needs to take care of her family and her kids. Now all these 4 kids are without a mother. For no apparent reason, as we can see right now. No apparent reason whatsoever. And that leads to mental health. Not going to get into it in this episode, but let me talk about it for just a second. How was it that a mentally deranged individual got his hands on a gun? People what's the word I'm looking for? Gun control, thank you. Individuals will say, yeah, how did this mentally deranged individual get a gun? If we got all the guns off the streets, this person wouldn't have a gun. We all know that's not true. That's false, fake news. But I really would like to know the backstory of how this person got their hands on a firearm. Just for my own sake and my own mental health. How did this person get their hands on a gun? And we'll talk about mental health on another issue coming up. Another episode coming up, because I got something planned. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Russia and Russian tanks and Russian military, as of last night, Ukraine warning time, rolling it into the country of Ukraine. And I just saw a Fox News alert before I started this recording that Ukraine is telling Ukraine citizens in Russia to evacuate immediately. So why are they telling Ukrainians in Russia to evacuate immediately? Is Putin going door to door trying to find out if you're a Ukrainian and taking them out? Does he have a register of Ukrainian citizens in Russia? And he's just gonna go door to door and start taking these folk out? I don't know. Who knows what's going on in the mind of a tyrant? And it seems as if, ladies and gentlemen, the left is going insane over John Bolton's statement in regards to him saying that Biden completely fumbled, mishandled, and failed in regards to this whole Ukrainian-Russian debacle. This Russian-Ukrainian, as we see it now, about to go to war. So where does that leave America and its allies? Take NATO out of it for a second. Just take NATO out of it for a second. Where does that leave America and its allies? Well, sanctions have been smacked upon Russia. And I'm thinking to myself, you think right now Putin gives a damn about sanctions? Do you honestly think that that Putin gives a damn about sanctions right now? What we should have done, and it was a green light for Putin when sleepy Joe Biden, former vice president, gave him the green light for that pipeline, but yet, as we know, took away and shut down the Keystone Pipeline here in America. And I don't care about the specifics and the surrounding issues in regards to that, but that was taken away from the American people. Thousands of jobs was taken away, and energy independence has been taken away, was basically taken away immediately, just like all of the southern border policies that was put in place by the Trump administration. We had that border under control, the under control like we have never seen before. We were energy independent under the Trump administration. And now we're begging OPEC for oil. And now, sleepy Joe Biden, former vice president, played his hand like an idiot appeased Putin in Russia, gave him that pipeline, and now emboldened Putin in Russia that they can just roll up into Ukraine and take over the Ukraine. It is a sad state of affairs that the left and the mainstream media in America are crying about statements made from one John Bolton in regards to his take on what happened with Biden and his failed diplomacy, his failed international affairs in regards to Russia dealing with the Ukraine. So they're mad at John Bolton. Not at Biden, they're mad at John Bolton. That is all you need to know about the left in America today. And the leftist mainstream media. They're angry at a former bureaucrat who talked so bad about Biden in regards to his foreign diplomacy. If that isn't a sign, ladies and gentlemen, that either you need to step away and run away from the Democrat Party, and I don't know what is. Again, not saying the Republican Party is the answer, but they are definitely not the Democrat Party. Let's go ahead and talk about this issue that I have. And I haven't been on a lot of the Steelers going into sports, y'all. This is an all-encompassing show. Not all of our politics. It's the Dan Adams show. It's not the political heat or anything like that with Dan Adams. This is the Dan Adams show, and I'm going to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. And if it's sports, entertainment, whatevs, it's going to happen. So here I am in the city of Steel, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm only going to talk about this for a second. I'm not going to bore you too much, especially if you're not a Steelers fan. But it has to do with Brian Flores being hired as a defensive coach. I'm on the fence right now, Steeler Nation. I'm on the fence in regards to this hire. I need to see how this plays out. I need to see how his lawsuit against the NFL plays out. But if he comes here, shuts his damn mouth, and does his damn job, then I don't have a problem with the hire at all. I do have a problem with how he's dealt with his situation with the NFL and what he has said. Absolutely. But as we continue on and proceed, Steeler Nation, let's just, don't put our foot on the pedal yet in regards to going after Brian Flores, and let's see how everything pans out and how everything, shows itself, And quickly, let's jump into the NBA real quick. Do you hear about the NBA ref that was banned because he didn't get the COVID jabs or doesn't want to get the COVID jabs? That's right. The NBA has now banned an NBA referee because he does not want to get the COVID jabs. The COVID jabs that do not stop you from getting COVID and does not stop you from spreading COVID. The same jabs, ladies and gentlemen, that the health organizations across the globe, if you want to call it, I know they did it in America, had to redefine the word vaccine in order to make this COVID jab and this COVID shot look appealing. Are you kidding me? Are you seriously kidding me? I have to look in the dictionary and see if Merriam-Webster or anyone else in regards to dictionaries has changed the actual definition of the word vaccine. But it is insanity, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely insanity. So this NBA ref, who's been a ref for decades, ladies and gentlemen, years, doesn't want to get the COVID jab. And that, once again, his personal choice. He may have some health issues in regards to not wanting to get the COVID jab, but the NBA does not give a damn. You get the jab or you get out. Now, I'm thinking to myself, this dude has been refereeing the entire time without having the COVID jab since the COVID jab's been out. So why are they banning him now? Especially with COVID restrictions being lifted across America, including blue states. Why are they banning him now? It makes no sense. It is all about control. And it has been ever since the science has shown us that it's been nothing but about control. These blue states lifting these vaccine mandates, but yet some of these blue states are still going to mask our kids in schools. These people are insane. I don't care what political aisle you may walk down. When political expediency is causing you to change course in regards to COVID and lifting most of the restrictions, but yet you are going to still put these damn masks on our kids in schools for no apparent reason. And we all know that these cloth masks these kids use do nothing, especially in regards to Omicron. I just don't understand it. Like I said, at this point, it is all about control. And we're still witnessing these school board meetings where these school board members are behind plexiglass with freaking masks on, and parents coming up to the microphone way over the 6 feet limit. These people are a good 30, 40, 50 feet away from these people, and they want these people to come up to the mic and still put on a mask, or they're going to be pulled away from the damn microphone. Like I said, it is all about control. And one of my co-workers was checking these COVID infections here in Pennsylvania, especially in Allegheny County and Westmoreland County where he lives. Not one recorded COVID case in either county. So, ladies and gentlemen, why hasn't Governor Wolf lifted all of the COVID restrictions in Pennsylvania? Not one COVID case yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. Can't tell you how it was across the entire state of Pennsylvania, but here in Allegheny and Westmoreland counties, not one COVID case. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me explain this to you before I end this particular broadcast of this show. You are going to see, ladies and gentlemen, a shift. Yeah, some of these COVID restrictions are being lifted and all that good stuff. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we have to not take our foot off the gas as far as parents and school boards and the like. Because while they are showing you this hand over here, ladies and gentlemen, the onslaught of CRT is happening. It is happening behind closed doors. It is happening without parental consent. And for every individual listening to this who has a child in school and has a major issue with CRT being taught in their schools, find out if it is being taught in your school. Number one, it is easy to find out. And if they are, you better be at the next school board meeting telling that school board and the school that your child is in that CRT will not be taught to your child. I'm seeing so many cases of parents pulling their children from public schools because I don't believe that any of this crap is happening in private and charter schools. And if it is, then you need to step up to those particular school boards and let them know this is not allowed. This cannot be tolerated. We're coming up on March, ladies and gentlemen, with maybe April, May, and so maybe about 2.5 to 3 months left of school in most schools across this country. Do not, ladies and gentlemen, take your foot off the gas, my fellow parents of school children, because that's when they'll try to slip in. They will try to continue to indoctrinate your children to the point where they are somehow, ladies and gentlemen, somehow putting that seed into your children to where they are going to not trust you at all. Because that is what their ultimate plan is, ladies and gentlemen. Plant the seed of distrust in you, the parent. And if you think I'm kidding, then don't do anything and let it happen. Because it'll happen, ladies and gentlemen. It'll happen. Right in front of you, and you won't even know it. So, as I end today's particular show, and as I end all shows, may God continue to bless you and yours. May he keep you and your family safe. Until next time, God bless. Peace.
Being woke, it may be time to stick a fork in it. There is a rallying cry with huge consequences, a movement across the nation. Voters across the political spectrum are fed up with activist politicians and their far-left agendas. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. The New York Post cover declaring the woke revolt. San Francisco, the neon blue city that elected Speaker Nancy Pelosi, overwhelmingly voted to remove 3 far-left members of its school board. Parents had complained they were too focused on woke politics at the expense of dealing with the historic pandemic. Karl Rove says Democrats had better watch out.
It shows us that even in the deepest blue of blue areas, San Francisco voted 85% for Joe Biden, that there are a lot of parents who are upset. One of the things about woke progressivism is it is completely out of touch with the ordinary feelings of ordinary Americans. Democrats defend this kind of stuff, they Democratic office holders, but ordinary Democrats, and particularly a lot of ordinary independents, say enough is enough. We're not going for this craziness.
Even ultra-liberal MSNBC sounding the alarm.
Democrats who are afraid the party's going too far.
Too many Democrats just don't speak in terms of the average American comprehending what they're saying.
The Democrats have got to step away from the super wokeness. I mean, San Francisco really tells what's going on. If you give the Republicans the ability to point to Democrats as this super woke culture focused on the wrong things that don't matter to voters, you're going to lose. And it's that simple.
That was 2 super wokes. The Wall Street Journal editorial board writes it this way. If it can happen in San Francisco, of all places, Democrats should be worried. They need to escape their union bondage and woke fixations. Republicans have a great opportunity to press parental choice on curriculum, charters, and vouchers. The woke may wake up to a far bigger shock in November. Power panel now. T.W. Shannon, former Black Voices for Trump co-chair and former Speaker of the Oklahoma House of Representatives. Nomiki Konst, host of The Nomiki Show and a former national surrogate for Bernie Sanders. It is great to have you both. Let's kick it off. T.W. Woke is on its way out if they're not careful, Democrats. Why?
Yeah, there's no question, Harris. I mean, listen, I wish I could take full credit for this as a conservative in the Midwest part of the country, but the reality is the COVIDian tyrants did this to themselves. We've watched this country completely implode under the leadership of Joe Biden. And even before that, we saw the woke agenda of the left completely trying to separate Americans with things like CRT and trying to define us based upon our color of our skin, not the content of our character. They've done it to themselves with these totalitarian policies policies that only seek to divide Americans and to consolidate power within the Democrat Party. And they did it to themselves. When grandma was dying, Nancy Pelosi was going to get her hair done. When Americans were watching getting pink slips and losing their jobs, you had people like Barack Obama and AOC throwing parties and living on a different standard. That do as I say, not as you see me do. That doesn't work anymore, and Americans are tired of it, and they're going to be rewarded in the midterms for doing what's right and standing up for freedom.
Nomiki, I want to get to a couple of things with you, and you can roll in your rebuttal if you want. But let's pop up the Washington Examiner with this. The hold Democrats once had on cultural issues is breaking. Hence, why dozens of House Democrats are jumping ship now and retiring before the midterm elections, and why the party's House campaign arm warned its candidates this week that if they don't figure out how to combat the GOP's alarmingly potent culture war attacks, they will lose badly. And as of today, 30 House Democrats are either retiring or seeking a different office. Nomiki.
Well, it's a redistricting year, and so the same thing's happening on the Republican side. That's what happens every redistricting year. But, there was one line there that was very powerful. Combating the Republicans' rhetoric, right? Their attacks. This never let a good crisis go to waste. When Donald Trump was handed the responsibility of really making America the leader in combating COVID, what did he do? He was rallying against the American government and inspiring terrorist attacks on the Capitol.
That's not true.
So you want to talk about
absolutely not true.
Oh, goodness gracious.
All right, I'm going to step in there because you are putting incendiary things into the conversation, and I know that TW wants to rebut that. So quickly, and we'll come right back to you. Hold on, TW?
Yeah, there's no way we're going to sit here and pretend like Donald Trump was promoting terrorism. That you should apologize to American people for saying that. That's just not true. The reality is the reason Democrats are losing is because Joe Biden has told us over and over that the number one problem in America is white supremacy, and it's not. That's not what's facing Americans. The people that are losing their jobs is not because of white supremacy. I'm going to go back to Nomiki now. I just wanted you to respond on that one point. Young lady, I live it. I don't have to get paid for it.
Don't call me young lady, sir. I'm a
bless your heart, ma'am.
I'm a grown woman, and you can come up with all the code you want. But the FBI said that the number one problem in America right now is white supremacy, organized white supremacy. That
ask the people who lost their job if it's white supremacy.
Of the Capitol. And so, let's talk about the people who lost their jobs, because Republicans are responsible for tax breaks for the wealthiest. They have no interest in unionized efforts. They're union busters. So if we want to talk about the real issues, you're making all these code words to distract away from the fact that people
are hurting about the real issues.
And Republicans
Let's talk about the real issues.
Nothing to save them.
So I want to jump back in here because the far left agenda in your party, and of course you were a surrogate for Bernie Sanders. So you saw that your party picked more mainstream, so they thought. That's not exactly what they're getting right now, but that's what they thought. So let's just go back to the idea that now your brand, so to speak, is getting voted out potentially. People are saying, no, we're done with this. We want you to focus on inflation and those bigger issues. What do you say about that?
If you look around the country to where the people who are not running for office again or switching districts, they're pretty much in more conservative districts. So those are the centrists of the party. Todd Kaminsky, a senator in New York, just said he was stepping down. Catherine Rice said she was stepping down. Those are the conservative Democrats who realize that working people they don't want business Democrats. They want Democrats who protect unions, organized labor. And all those attacks against the school boards right now, that's an attack against labor.
Harris, you've got to let me respond.
Let me hold on 1 second. Let me just put one more thing in here. In California, we're looking at erosion of support for Feinstein and Pelosi. Pelosi is not exactly in the middle mainstream right now. She's being pulled a bit to the left in the House by AOC and some of the other so-called squad members. So I hear what you're saying, but that is a cobalt blue state. And one in which progressive politics are very, very hot. I want to get to this. Turns out people in the Golden State, again, which is actually very blue, are souring on President Biden. A new poll shows that for the first time in that state, more voters disapprove of his job performance than approve of it. A huge change he had, as approval rating of nearly 60% just last summer, and won that state, both of them. That team right there on the screen won the state by 30 points. Brutal numbers for the Vice President, Kamala Harris, from her home state voters. Only 38% approve. What's happening out there? TW, I'm coming to you.
Well, you've got two real issues, I think, that are facing the American people, Harris. Number one, COVID. The young lady on the panel mentioned the COVID numbers. More people have died from COVID under this president than died under Donald Trump. Biden has overseen the pandemic. He was handed not only a vaccine.
People who are not vaccinated are dying.
That's not true. That's not true. People all over the world are dying because Joe Biden has failed to lead on the issue. And the second is the economy. They have been unable to generate an economy
and Nomiki,
that produces
thank
jobs.
you. You may sit by, but I've got to get to the UN right now.